If there was any persuasion by the American president or his senior officials, it would have been persuasion of the Pakistanis. They would have had to be persuaded. We don't need to be persuaded because we don't want war. We have enormous respect for the American presidency, and we will speak with that respect in mind. But broadly speaking, our understanding is a bit different. We are not interested in prolonging conflict. This is not the opening salvo in some sort of war. All it is retribution against the terrorists, period. So the US is important to us at all levels because, frankly, the Security Council, in a sense, is a small part of our relationship with the US, which is huge, whether it comes to trade, whether it comes to defense, whether it comes to intelligence sharing, whether it comes to our participation in the Quad, in the G20. There are just so many avenues in which we cooperate with the US, and then there is the phenomenally important Indian-American community. Some 4 to 5 million people of Indian descent in America, who are the largest, most successful ethnic group when it comes to median income and so on. This is a very, very important community, and for us, we will do our very best, obviously, to get our message out to whoever in the US is prepared to listen. It's no accident that the Pakistanis have also sent a delegation abroad, but they're not going to as many countries as the Indian delegations are. They're focusing on what they consider a few key capitals, namely Washington, Brussels, London. That seems to be the thrust of the Pakistani effort. We have gone to all those capitals and more. But when I say we, I don't mean just me, all the other MP delegations. But in Washington, we'll have the interesting phenomenon of the Pakistani delegation in America on almost exactly the same dates. They've been in New York, I believe, today and tomorrow they'll be in New York. Thereafter, yesterday and today, I beg your pardon, in New York. Tomorrow onwards, they will be in Washington while we are in Washington on the same dates. So there's going to be some, perhaps, increase in interest because of the fact there are two dueling delegations, as it were, in the same city.
So since this India-Pakistan war, United States is one country that has always been on headlines because of Donald Trump, who has been claiming a mediation or getting a ceasefire between the two countries. During our engagements there, will this come up? How
do I know what will come up, Ayushi? We'll have to wait and see what questions people ask. Look, we have enormous respect for the American presidency, and we will speak with that respect in mind. But broadly speaking, our understanding is a bit different. We had consistently said from the very beginning on May 7th that we are not interested in prolonging conflict. This is not the opening salvo in some sort of war. All it is retribution against the terrorists, period. If Pakistan had not reacted, we would not have reacted. That would have been the end of that. Pakistan chose to react with shelling, then we reacted to the Pakistan reaction. And throughout every day, the message was the same from India to everybody who would listen. If they hit, we'll hit. If they stop, we'll stop. We don't want war. We want to focus on our growth and development. This message was given to everybody. Our foreign minister was getting calls from other foreign ministers. He was saying the same thing. So in that sense, no one needed to persuade us to stop. We had already said stop. So if there was any persuasion by the American president or his senior officials, it would have been persuasion of the Pakistanis. They would have had to be persuaded. We don't need to be persuaded because we don't want war. We want to focus on development. That's the basic message.
So Western media seemed to have ignored India's proof of damage to Pakistani assets and relied on Pakistani military briefings. What will you say on Western media hypocrisy, who even called terrorists as gunmen? And since you are going to give interviews there, are you going to change?
Let's wait and see till I actually encounter the Western media rather than telling the Indian media first. But thank you, Ayushi, for the question. I'm forewarned.
Last question. Washington, D.C. also holds headquarters of big financial institutions like World Bank
and IMF. Yeah.
World Bank recently unveiled a $40 billion long-term financial support to Pakistan, and IMF also bailed out recently. What is your assessment on that?
See, we don't begrudge any country its development. If the money is to be spent truly on getting people out of poverty or helping deal with development issues, why would we object? We are humane. We believe in all the sort of well-being of the poorest of the poor in any country. But if that money simply enables Pakistan to divert more resources to supporting terrorism, to arming themselves to attack us, and so on, then it would be most unfortunate. And I hope that the World Bank and the IMF, both of which are bodies in which India does have some influence, I hope they will both be told by our diplomats there that it is extremely important to have complete safeguards to ensure that this money is only spent the way it's supposed to be spent. Money is, after all, fungible, right? Let's say you were going to spend 10 rupees on defense and somebody comes and gives you 20. You will happily take 10 and put the other 10 to defense and save yourself the first 10. This is the kind of human nature. So any lender must take adequate precautions to ensure that their money is only spent for the purposes for which it is being given. Otherwise, frankly, we would not object normally to development assistance per se. Our objection is to the misuse of financial freedoms made possible by this assistance.
So there was also a terror attack in USA in border. What will you say on that?
Well, we immediately reacted. As soon as we saw the reports, the delegation I consulted and I issued a tweet, which they've all retweeted, saying that we express shock and condemn the terrorist attack. We were relieved there was no loss of life. And we endorsed the Secretary of State's message, which is that he said terrorism has no place in our country, and that terrorism has no place in either his country or ours. When we don't believe that terrorism should have any place in any civilized nation. And that message is something we will underscore when we get to America.